Hello all, today we're going to be talking about respiration and gas exchange. So I figured that we needed a little bit of background on why respiration is necessary. Respiration is necessary at the cellular level, or really I guess the subcellular level, because all animals use the process of the electron transport chain at the end of cellular respiration. So if you recall, this is where we get most of our ATP being made, and ATP is a source of energy for many proteins in the cell. So we need ATP, we need to make it. The cells usually make most of the ATP through the electron transport chain, which, as the name implies, passes an electron down a series of proteins. Then each protein gets a little bit of energy from the electron, and eventually the electron's energy is almost all used up. And so we can't use it to do anything useful anymore. Instead, oxygen is going to bind it. So we get rid of that electron that, we're not interested in anymore in terms of making ATP, and oxygen binds that electron. So technically it's 1/2 of an O2 molecule that is the electron acceptor, as we see here, and then that is expelled from the body as carbon dioxide. So in other words, we take in oxygen from the atmosphere, we use it to grab onto an electron that we're no longer interested in, and then the oxygen is released from our body as carbon dioxide. So there's a whole cycle here. Then that carbon dioxide eventually can be used, or the carbon in that carbon dioxide can be used to make organic molecules such as glucose, such as amino acids, nucleotides, by plants and some other types of organisms. So this is the basis of why respiration is so important in the first place. How does respiration occur? Or where does it occur? It occurs at these different types of gas exchange organs. And these types of organs tend to maximize surface area and the flow of either air, if this is an air-breathing organism, or water, if this is an aquatic organism. So there are different organs that participate in gas exchange, depending on the animal group that you're looking at. Insects have these tracheae and spiracles, which are at the interface of the environment and the body. Birds have air sacs. We have lungs as mammals, and then fish and some other types of animals have gills. These are some comparisons of gas exchange organs, and keep in mind, as I noted here, these are the sites of gas exchange, so where the tissues come in contact with the atmosphere or with water, as the case may be for the organism, and that's where we actually have the oxygen being diffused into the tissues. There are separate organs which allow or assist in making the air or water flow over these areas, the locations of exchange. And we see that there are some similarities between all four of these different structures, even though they're quite different. So they all have high surface area, so we see that they're folded or they have a lot of branching, as we see in insects here. And if we were able to look very closely, we would also see that they are all thin, and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. The three of them on this side, so the internal gills, tracheae, and the lungs, are all internal because the location of gas exchange is crucial, and the organs that host this gas exchange need to be protected from the external environment. And so that's why, even though it might be in some situations more efficient to have gills or even lungs on the outside, advanced organisms tend not to have gills on the outside, and we don't know of any organisms that have lungs on the outside because at that point when these organisms arose, we already had the gas exchange organisms internal. So next we're going to talk about Fick's law, but I'm going to end this video here just as an intro.